Yo, welcome everybody. This is community education call number something. I don't know. Dylan usually keeps up with that. Yeah, if you didn't know, this is what I do weekly to answer any community questions, specifically about the actual structure of the contracts and the website itself, and hopefully give some knowledge on how to best use this tool. Glacier Finance is a tool for your investment or whatever you plan to do in DeFi. And if you're invested in Glacier, it's always best to have the most education you possibly can, to be the most informed that you can. So that is the major purpose of these. They're only supposed to be about 10-15 minutes. I usually talk a little bit about Glacier and where we're at with it, and try and drop a little bit of alpha for the users that are spending the most time with me. And today, I think mainly what I wanted to go over is what kind of investor you are as an individual. Are you an investor or a trader? And looking specifically at Glacier price, and not about if it's going to go up or down, by the way, but more so as a yielding platform, and you receiving Glacier. What does that really mean as a user? And regardless of price, I just wanted to explain some things as far as like accumulation, right? It's absolutely a fact that we're still in a bear market. BTC is going up around 30K. We're in a very good position for a bull run or some kind of alt run or whatever you want to call it, right? But we're not there yet. And right now we're in the very big building phase. And we're kind of moving in stages as a team. We came out the gate very strong, and we're still going very strong. But the goal is to have a very awesome working platform that offers what every other DEX can offer, plus some, with an ethos behind education, and transparency. And most importantly, with this bribe ecosystem and voting ecosystem of being able to decentralize our emissions based on user behavior. Those are the things that we want to drive home and bring to users, right? So it's going to take some time. And I think we're on a very good trajectory so far. We've only been out for 4 weeks now. And I think we're absolutely smashing it. Now, a lot of times, what is under our control is being controlled very well. Outside of that, the AVAX DeFi market right now is in a slump. And hopefully, as I continue to talk to Ava Labs, we're able to get that assistance and bringing some engagement back on the platform of AVAX itself, regardless of Glacier. So that being said, the main thing is you as an LPer, right? And I'll speak a little bit about voting later, but you as an LPer, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of what the current price is or the APR that's displayed, you are earning the same amount of Glacier, right? So if this week and last week are the same, everything is the same, and last week Glacier was at $1 and this week it's at 50 cents, the APR is going to be half of that. Granted, no TVL change, right? You as a user are still going to be yielding the same amount of Glacier, right? But you won't be getting the same APR technically because of Glacier's assumed price, right? It dropped by 50%. That means the APRs would technically drop by 50% as well. But that doesn't mean that you always, unless you're selling on a daily basis, then sure, you can assume those APRs. And they're going to be drastically changing and very volatile in the early stages of Glacier. But on a long path forward, if your goal is to accumulate Glacier for voting governance, or is to, get it while it's cheap, or whatever your investment plan is for Glacier, you're still getting the same Glacier, right? Regardless of those APRs. So that's one thing I wanted to drive home is, regardless of what you are doing on the platform, whether it be LPing, trading the Glacier token, a little bit of both, locking the token, the good news is the same amount of Glacier goes out with a 1% decay week over week. And depending on where those APRs are, of course, can direct where you put your LP, of course. But just keep in mind that you're still earning the same amount of Glacier. One Glacier is one Glacier. Whatever its comparative price is to AVAX at the time is one thing. But I just wanted to say that because I feel like Glacier is an investment vehicle for you. If you're looking out past the performance of a month, We're really just starting, right? We're just getting our legs in AVAX. We've made some amazing partnerships and connections. We're developing concentrated liquidity with two huge partners, Algebra and Gamma. We're working on a lot in the back end on partnerships and bringing new blood into AVAX. And some of this stuff just takes time, right? Like, we can market till our face turns blue, but if at the end of the day we've just spent 50K in marketing and it didn't result in buy pressure, then that's wasted 50K. And we're being very conservative with the rewards that we're giving out, with the programs that we're running, because we have made mistakes in previous protocols of doing something very similar to that, where it was very instantaneous reactions and being very reactionary to what we're seeing, rather than not fight the market, but continue building with runway that the team has secured, and developing a holistic project that we are proud of. And right now, I'm extremely proud of Glacier. I think the team can say the same, regardless of any kind of depreciation on the price or TVL in the ecosystem. I think we're smashing it. Quite frankly, I've never been this proud of a DeFi project in over the year that I've been doing it, and just the outlook of the future and who we're connecting with and kind of what's being offered. I think it's important to educate people on that fact. If you're long on Glacier, then farm Glacier. If you dump it, that's on you. Of course, you are more than welcome to do that. But I'm saying, if you're long on it, even locking it, if you're long on Glacier, locking it, it's only a 3-month lock. Very not similar at all to most Saltly forks. We have a very short lock, which means that you could take the risk now while the voting APR is up at these low prices and still earn off of bribes and fees better than you could. It's essentially single staking that's locked for 3 months. And there's going to continue to be bribes and new partners and new bribe ecosystems that develop from here. So to me, locking, of course, I'm biased, is a no-brainer. And you're getting a consistent 200 to 300% APR, as we've seen it over the last 4 epochs. Honestly, even increasing some. So I guess that's the main topic, is how do you know where the APR is coming from, and it's tied to price, right? And that's the kind of illusion that you're put into in DeFi, is that these APRs and APR chasing is exhausting and it's not necessary. It's really how you hold value to the token. And if you do hold value and you think that it's not the current price that it should be, you think it's undervalued, right? Based on the market cap, which is something I always look at is a market cap basis rather than the current price of the token, because that's kind of moot, really, because everything in DeFi is kind of arbitrary because someone just invented it and printed the tokens. Even us at Glacier, right? We just made a certain supply of Glacier, but it had no tie to value. What gave value is speculative pricing and the asset that's backing it, which is AVAX. So yeah, yielding in DeFi and all of DeFi is based on the amount of tokens you get. The APR that's displayed, it's something that changes user behavior, right? And that's why DeFi protocols like Glacier and other ones that exist place that APR there, because they know that if they can get a heightened APR, they can get more users to jump in. But if you as a user are educated on the platform itself and understand that, oh, I'm still getting this much Glacier even though the APR is down, well, that's great, right? You're not getting less Glacier. You're just getting more. You're just getting the same Glacier at a discounted price. And I think that is lost sometimes in DeFi, because some people are always still like, where does this APR come from? Why is the APR going down? Why is the APR going up? So all of these things are very common questions in all of DeFi. And so I wanted to get it recorded, kind of that APR is an illusion. And it's really based on all the other factors around it, not just the price. And also just that, what narrative have we built with Glacier and what narrative are we building with Glacier? And I think it's going to have a strong impact in the future. And it was slower start. And I don't know if anybody was here when we first launched. I think many of you were. But when we first launched Glacier, my goal was to not make it a hype launch and to really build on education, build the platform with good partners, and try and look out for the investor, right? So even before we launched, I said, please, God, take some time and wait for it to come down to a price that you felt like was a good entry for you, right? Don't take the risk and try and front run bots or do something that you may regret later, and don't buy in just because it's a new solidly fork. And you know, I do that because I want to make sure that people that make these investments have a clear understanding of the ups and downs of a volatile, low market cap asset like Glacier. Right, we're at 260K market cap. You know, anything can really happen. A spark could happen. Right, even right now, Glacier, just to put it in comparison, has made tons of front end updates, are working on a ton more front end updates, have offered a lot of things that other solidly forks haven't yet, or are going to implement, but we've already added within the first 4 weeks. We have concentrated liquidity with 2 huge partners, one of those being very exclusive, being Gamma, that is only offered right now on Thena. Right, we are starting to offer some of the same as the higher tier project of Thena, and you can still see you know, the value of our tokens going down, the value of TVL going in, and that's, you know, quite honestly, almost like an L1 problem, like an AVAX layer problem, rather than it is a Glacier product. But that's the path that us and the team kind of knew about going into this, right? And we just talked about it in the team meeting today, is that like we knew this was the hard route to go to AVAX. We didn't come to AVAX because there wasn't a solid fork and we thought we could get hype. We came to AVAX because we wanted to embolden the entire chain and bring it up with us, right? So we knew we were going to have a tough road ahead of us, trying to capture market share, and compete in a space that has notably lower volume than other chains. And you know, that's okay. Like, we're up for the fight. But I like to make sure that I educate people on the background of things, of what's happening, right? Not just, oh, the prices are going down, oh, everything must be dead, but the real inner workings of like DeFi and how these products are built behind the scenes. There's so much more, and with these low market cap tokens, literally any narrative can change within a day. I mean, you're looking at, if we look at something like the Pepe token, it's a meme token, and it has, I think it's like 100 mil market cap or something. It's absolutely insane. It got listed on MEXC. It's going absolutely bananas, right? And that just shows you that there is money in DeFi, but the narrative isn't built for Glacier or long-term holders, right? Because I think a DEX is more of a long-term holder. People aren't just moving around and trading these tokens. But I think in the future, we're going to have something with the dip. Have I released that yet? No, but in the future, we are going to have things that, I'll put it simply, where we'll bribe for volume, right? Instead of just bribing for the emissions, we're also going to have something in the future that bribes for volume. So if a user, you know, were to trade $10,000 of a certain token, they could earn on a leaderboard based on that from a bribe from a ecosystem token, like, you know, Yak or even Glacier could bribe it, to get our volume up, right? And I was talking about it the other day. The last point I want to make before we end today, and I'll check for some questions too, is that, you know, concentrated liquidity is an amazing tool. It's not a fix-all solution. It's not something like, oh, as soon as we get concentrated liquidity, we're going to moon. That's ridiculous. But fundamentally, in my opinion, it's more beneficial to Glacier than it is to many other solidly dexes. And the reason is because AVAX is a lower TVL chain, and we can be much more efficient with the lower TVL that we have, right? So our bribe ecosystem and fee ecosystem can still thrive even in a lower TVL environment until the next bull run kicks in. And I think that's the biggest bull case that we have, right? Is that even with our low TVL, if we can even capture, you know, 20, 30% of what Trader Joe's getting with these V3 pools, then we're absolutely killing it. Comparatively to our token prices, the locked amount, it's an amazing bull case, in my opinion, for Glacier. And we may not see the effects instantly, right? But we even have more stuff than that, that's coming out in the short term, that we're building, right? And pretty soon, the good news is we'll have dynamic fees. So Glacier will probably be bumped up to a 1% fee. Some of the other notable tokens will be bumped up or lowered depending on the current market. And I'll be changing those almost daily to try and compete with volatility. That should really boost us. We still have 1 inch in Paraswap that is yet to list us. So that should help a lot with getting some more bot trading in and arbitrage opportunities. In my opinion, we're in a very healthy spot, and I'm of course biased, but I still do think that we're heavily undervalued and slept on. which is great. The underdogs, that's where I like being, because we're building our ass off and everybody's excited on the team. And so I think that's it. That was the main thing I wanted to talk about is don't let APRs fool you. You're still earning Glacier. One Glacier is one Glacier. And if you're long on Glacier, then, do what you must. But it's not going to change, right? You're not going to all of a sudden start getting half the Glacier you were supposed to. You're always going to get that Glacier. So I hope you learned something today. And I will leave it there. I enjoyed being able to rant a little bit. I think I ranted more on this one than I usually do, but I had a lot to say. So, yeah, again, thank you for attending. We'll schedule another one on next Monday. Important things coming up is new partnership announcement, I think, tomorrow. And then we also have the Drift on Wednesday. And then I think Top Gun's doing another hangout session on Wednesday as well. So a lot of things coming up. I think the ambassador program is absolutely phenomenal, by the way. I should have touched on that just for a quick second. Not a lot of people joining in on it yet. So there is a lot of B Glacier up for grabs if you just want to take a second and use any of the skills that you have or even the voice that you have on any social media platform. I think it's an amazing way for us to organically grow. I was really opposed to using something like Zeely or Crew 3 because it usually oftentimes gets a lot of people that aren't engaged in the platform but just coming in for a quick buck. We're trying to give this money out to current users of Glacier that just want to speak about their investment to other people. And I think that is a much stronger case than using something like Zeely or these quest programs where you pay. So if you haven't done it, I highly suggest doing it. I think it is definitely worth it. And there's a lot of money up for grabs, 200,000 Glacier every month, 50,000 a week. And it's very simplistic on things that you have to do, just creating some threads and some education. A lot of stuff you can actually learn from these videos and just copy and paste it, right? It's about getting the message out from real users, not fake platform users or fake Twitter people, but you all, the people that are actually invested in it. So I'll leave it there. I appreciate everybody. Dylan looks like he wants to come up and say something real quick.
Yeah, we're definitely going to hang out Wednesday night again. I'll get the event up tonight. And yeah, I was going to just say exactly what you said about Zeely and Crew 3 and all that. I looked into doing Galaxy, which is a similar platform, but it rewards with its own tokens or NFTs. And it's for users of DeFi that just want to expand their knowledge. I'm going to dig into that more. The way it's presented is something that I think we would all be interested in. It would bring users who may not be exposed to a V33 DEX like we have normally, and it would get them on board. And it's something that we wouldn't have to reward them with. It's rewarded through Galaxy itself. So I'm going to dig into that a little bit more, and we'll see where we are with it. But yeah, definitely the ambassador program. We've got a couple open tickets already. So we'll get those paid out by the end of the week, I think is when we were talking about doing that, Austin.
Yeah, once we start doing it, we'll do it on a weekly basis. I'll probably keep a spreadsheet or something and keep users in mind so we're not double dipping and getting users engaged in the different versions of that ambassador program and try and keep it healthy so that we don't have one person claiming all 200,000 V Glacier, even though I'd love that for you all as users. Definitely the point being is that we spread the love and try and get as many people outreaching as we can.
That's all I had to say.
All right, guys. Well, be expecting a couple of different announcements tomorrow and the next couple of days. I think we have one bigger announcement, and then we have another AVAX native protocol probably getting onboarded by next week. And that is it. That's what I have for you today. I will talk to you soon, and thank you all for joining.